Prequest is going to have similar stuff. So we want to make sure we got it all under control. All right, so question number 1. Many of you did very, very well. So just sit there calmly and listen. Some of you are messing up some of this stuff though, so you want to get through it. All right, so here we go. AC means, okay, this is a AC. This I need point C. AC means we are moving from A to C, okay? We're moving from A to C. How do we do that? Look right here. We're going from A to C. So from A to C would be 2, 3. There you go. That's it. Those are the coordinates of AC. 2, 3. Now, number 2 says 2V plus 3W. Well, V is 1, negative 1, so I want 2 of those. So that would be 2, negative 2, right? And then I want 3 W's. So that would be 15, 6. And I would just add them together. This is an add problem, kids, addition. So I'm saying 2 plus 15 and negative 2 plus 6. Anybody have a question about that? 17, 4. Okay. What does this mean? Stop it. That means magnitude. And magnitude means Pythagorean theorem. Find the hypotenuse. So this vector W is over 5 up 2. You don't have to draw it, but if it helps you to draw it, draw it. This is the magnitude every time. So the magnitude of this vector is root 29. 25 plus 4. Anybody have a question about that? Our AC, now remember, this was AC, and V, which is 1, negative 1, are these two equal? No. 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 The only way they can be equal is if what? They have the same components. They have the same coordinates. They have the same numbers. We good? Find a unit vector in the same direction as W. So W is 5, 2. How do we make that a unit vector? Uh-oh, we got to remember this. This is on the test, I promise. Well, you want its length to be 1. And to make the length 1, all you have to do is take those two numbers and divide them by the magnitudes. So the answer would be 5 over root 29, 2 over root 29. This is the answer. To find a unit vector, you simply divide by the magnitude.
How do we know when there's a, like, 1? When there's a third 1 and it's just 1?
What do you mean, when there's a 1?
Do you ever put 1?
What?
Like as one of the answers? Is that wrong? Because when, like, the square root of 29 over the square root of 29 be 1?
It would be, but to find a unit vector, you take the coordinates of the vector, which are 5 and 2, and divide it by root 29. You don't divide root 29 by that. I mean, root 29 is not one of the components of the vector. Okay? Remember, components are x and y, so we should only have 2 of them. All right, number 6. Find the components of the vector shown. All right, what do we mean by components? What do we mean by components? We mean find x and y. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make my butterfly bow tie here. There's my x, there's my y. And I know every time x is found using cosine and y is found using sine. Now, some of you got your numbers mixed up. X will be 12 cosine 59 and y will be 12 sine 59. Remember that the angle always goes with the sine or cosine. So you're going to always be cosine angle, sine angle. It's never going to be cosine 12 unless the angle is 12. It's cosine angle. So then we just type them in on our calculator. 12 cosine 59, and I got, oops, 6.18, and 12 sine, 10.29. It's always cosine with x and sine with y. It's always cosine with x and sine with y. Always, always, always. All right, if you missed that, are you clear on it now? Some of you missed this problem. All right, number 7. Almost everybody got the magnitude right, which is really good, but a bunch of you missed the angle. So let's take a look at number 7. The vector is -4, 2. So there's a picture of it. The magnitude is always the hypotenuse. So the magnitude is the square root of 16 plus 4, square root of 20, 2 root 5. There's your magnitude. That's easy. Remember when we do Pythagorean theorem, the negatives disappear. Never put a negative in your Pythagorean theorem. Now, the direction angle. It is this angle. That's the answer. But I have to find this one first. I have to find the angle inside my triangle first. How do I do that? How do I find an angle? Second something, right? And I know that the tangent of this angle, for example, you could use other functions, but tangent's easiest. Tangent is y over x, opposite over adjacent. So tangent is 2/4. Now, you can put the negative in or leave the negative out. It makes no difference. I don't put it in. It just confuses me. Put it in, I don't care. It won't matter. You're going to get the same answer. So now I will type in on my calculator, second tangent 2/4, or you can reduce that to 1/2. So second tangent 1/2. This angle right here is 26.57 degrees. Second tangent 1/2. Gave me that number right there. This is the one I want though. So how am I going to figure out the one I want? I'm going to take 180 minus that. So my direction angle is 153.43. Now, several of you missed that problem. Do you have a question about it?
Yeah, I don't know why, but I got -66.4 as mine.
Because you typed in a tangent of 4/2. It's opposite over adjacent. So if you label the right angle, or the right vector, which is over 4 up 2, then tangent is going to be 2/4, not 4/2. Okay? All right, and then the last one, just sketching a vector. Now, this vector represents an airplane. Paul? your mouth shut then, okay? Now, we have an airplane flying on a course of 280. Keep in mind that when we are flying on a course, we have to set up our compass, right? So here comes our compass. This is going to be our setup. And the course is 280. So 280 is going to be over here. Here's my plane flying on a course of 280 degrees. So you can think of this as 280. At a speed of 310 miles an hour. So that's all you had to do on the quiz. That was it on the quiz for that problem. Now, some of you missed that one too. Anybody who missed that still have a question about it? In normal math, we don't use this setup. This is not our setup in normal math. But anytime it's a directional problem, that's the setup. Okay? Awesome. Now, you got your little packets out a minute ago. And we're going to go to the second page, which is called actually going to go to the third page, which is called Prequest number 2. Or maybe it's the fourth page. I don't know. Find Prequest number 2. We're going to the page that's called Prequest number 2. Finn? You're getting on my nerves, dude. Okay? Everybody got Prequest number 2. Here we go. As soon as I'm done with this, we're done for the day. Alright, so let's pay close attention. No talking, Mason, Tony. We're going to focus on this. So here we go. You guys really need to pay attention because I'm not going to see you for a few days, right? And we're going to hit the ground running and have a quest real soon when we come back. All right, so here are my 2 points. And we're going to find vector Mn. The vector from M to N. All right, so that vector would have what coordinates? We're traveling from M to N. -2, -2. Okay, done. Next problem. Oh, multi-parts. So we've got 4, 3, and 2, -1. So these are our givens. Now we're going to do some stuff. So V minus U. Alright, so we're going to subtract these 2 vectors. What do you think the answer is? V minus U. 2, 4. 4 minus 2. 3 minus -1. You okay with that? Perfect. Next one is V plus U. V plus U will be 6, 2. 4 plus 2, 3 minus 1. 3 plus -1. Now C looks a lot more complicated. What do these absolute value marks mean?
That means you got to find the magnitude.
Means you got to find the magnitude. So we're going to be doing a Pythagorean theorem, but not until we figure this out. We have to do that part first. So we're going to take 2 V's and we're going to subtract 3 U's. Okay, that's what the problem says to do. Take 2 V's and subtract 3 U's. So this would be 8, 6. Everybody good with that? 2 times 4, 2 times 3. Minus, this is going to be 6, negative 3. 3 times 2, 3 times negative 1. Now I'm going to subtract. So 8 minus 6.
It's a 2.
2. And 6 minus negative 3. 9. Now that is this. But I still need to do its magnitude. So I can do that with or without a picture. Over 2 up 9. The magnitude will be the square root of 85. Because it's 4 and 81. V dot U. What does that mean? How do I do V dot U? Multiply. Ooh, no one remembers how to do a dot product? Desiree?
You multiply the x's and the y's together.
Exactly. So it's x times x. Here are my vectors. So x times x would be 4 times 2. And y times y would be 3 times negative 1. And then, like she said, add them together. So isn't my answer just 5? How do you find a dot product? X times x, y times y, add them up. V plus 4u. All right, here's V, 4, 3. Plus 4 u's. So that'll be 4, 3 plus 8, negative 4, is that right? 4 u's. Now, we're going to add them together. It's just an addition, straight add. What do I get? 12, negative 1. Beautiful. That's your answer. How about F? Magnitude of vector U. Square both. Add them up. Take the square root. So that's going to be the square root of 5. So F is just the square root of 5. Now, does anybody feel at all uncomfortable with anything in number 2? Any of those pieces of number 2?
So the dot is just x times x, y times y.
Yep, add them together. So it's just a number, one number. All right, number 3. You're given 2 points, and you have to find the components and magnitude of the vector. So A is 3, 1, B is 4, 7. These are points, and you have to find the vector coordinates. What are the components or the coordinates as we travel from A to B? From A to B. 1, 6. Everybody good with 1, 6? And then we need the magnitude of that. So these would be the components. What's the magnitude? Square root of 37. How do we do magnitude? Pythagorean theorem. If you're going over 1 up 6, that's going to be the square root of 37. Right? Okay. Number 4. Find the components of the vector shown. All right, now this is a little tougher than the one on your quiz. All my markers are running out. All right, so here we go. We've got this vector. want to find the components. What do we mean by that? Components?
X and Y.
We mean X and Y. So we need to make our butterfly bow tie, and we need to find X and Y. How do we find X and Y? Sine and cosine? But we need to know what angle to use. What angle do you think I might use? Let's look right here. Could we figure out that little angle in that triangle there? We can. What would it be? 27. Now, is there anybody who has a confusion about how he knew that was 27? Remember, the whole shebang is 207. From here to here is 180, right? How much farther do we have to go from 180 to get down to 207? From 180 to 207, isn't that 27 degrees? So what does X equal? X equals 10 cosine 27 and Y equals 10 sine 27. X goes with cosine, Y goes with sine. I can't explain it any other ways. It is. Memorize it. X goes with cosine, Y goes with sine. Alright, so I end up with, what is that?
8.9.
No, I end up beeping and talking. Alright, so 8.91 and 4.54. Now be careful. With these problems, there's always something you have to pay attention to. What do we have to pay attention to? Look where this vector is, kids. Tell me about my X and my Y. They're both negative. Oh boy, we do not want to miss those easy points. Pay attention. They're both negative. All right. Number 5. We need to find the angle between these two vectors. All right, we need to find the angle between these two vectors. In your note sheets, I had you write down a little formula. Anybody remember it? Dot product equals magnitude times magnitude times cosine. Dot product equals magnitude times magnitude times cosine. Now, it is wonderful for you to write that down again, but kids, you've got to spend some time studying it so you remember it. Dot product equals mag times cosine. Okay, what's the dot product of these two vectors going to be? X times X would be negative 10. Y times Y is 4. So the dot product is negative 6. What's the magnitude of this vector? Square root of 2. How do we do magnitude?
It's 20.
If you need to draw a picture of it, draw a picture of it. Pythagorean theorem, this would be the square root of 16 plus 4, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So the square root of 20. What about vector u? What's the magnitude of vector u? Root 26 times the cosine of theta. That's what we're looking for, that angle. Anybody remember what the next step I always do is? Next step I like to do is multiply them together. So I have negative 6 equals the square root of 520. And then what do?
Divide it by.
Divide. So negative 6 over the square root of 520 equals cosine theta. Uh-oh. How do I go from here? I need my calculator. What buttons do I press? Second cosine. So theta is going to equal second cosine negative 6 over root 520. So I'll type that in. 105.26. Does that sound okay, everybody? Both of you that have a calculator out. All right. Anybody have a question about it? To find the angle between two vectors, we're going to focus on dot product equals magnitude times cosine. All right, 6 we've already talked about today. So 6 is a good review problem for us. We talked about this earlier. So what do we do to remove the parameter and write one equation? What do we do here? Get t by itself alone. So it probably would be easier here. So I'll subtract 5 from both sides here. So y minus 5 equals t. Now I'm going to take this and plug it in here. So I have x equals 2 minus 4 times y minus 5. Taking out the t and plugging in y minus 5. So x equals 2 minus 4y plus 20. Or x equals 22 minus 4y. Now you can leave it like that. Then you can do some rearranging if you want, but it's fine that way. Is the t gone? Do I have just one equation left? That's what the direction said, so I'm good. I'm good. But you could rearrange it if you wanted to. All right, sound that one? Now next, write the parametric equations. So remember, it's going to look just like this. I'm not going to put these blanks, but remember, that's what you're doing. You're filling in these blanks, writing the parametric equations for the line through these 2 points. So we talked about this a few minutes ago. Do you remember what goes here? What's at the beginning of these equations? One of the points. So maybe 2, negative 1. 4, 3, 4. Now, what goes here? I'll tell you what some of you are going to do. Some of you are going to put 3, 4 here. And of course, it's going to get marked wrong because what's supposed to be here? The slope. The slope. You cannot just plug in numbers. You've got to calculate your slope. So y minus y over x minus x is 5 over 1. So what goes up here? 1, 5. This is y over x. So y is 5, x is 1. Alrighty? That should look really familiar. We did some earlier. Uh-oh, now we got an airplane flying. So that means when I draw it, I'm on my compass. So I'm gonna draw this picture on that setup. Says he's flying on a course of 218. So this would be 218. Would you agree with that? And he's flying at a speed of 410. So this is 218. And he's flying on a speed, or flying at a speed of 410. We need the components. What does that mean we're looking for? We're looking for X and Y. So we're going to drop our perpendicular. We're going to find X and Y. Now, something is missing. The inside angle. Can we figure out, now look at the setup here. This is the angle we need. Isn't it the angle between 218 and 270? So what's the difference between 270 and 218? 52. So this angle is 52. Now some of you don't pay attention to the scenario. This is the angle you need. It is between the 270 line and the 218 line. So the difference between 270 and 218 is 52. X will equal what? What will X equal? 410 cosine 52, and Y equals 410 sine 52. So 410 cosine 52. I have 252.42. 410 sine 52. 323.08. Now, am I happy with that answer? Am I ready to move on to the next problem? No. They're both negative. Good, Melissa. They are both negative. Pay attention to where you are drawing that picture. It is in the third quadrant. X and Y are both negative. Now, we've already talked about this one today because it was on your quiz. We want a unit vector for this guy. So what do we have to do? Find the magnitude. And the magnitude is just the Pythagorean theorem. So that would be the square root of 16 plus 9, which is 5, right? It's not even a radical this time, it's just 5. So your answer is simply negative 3/5, 4/5. Negative 3/5, 4/5, that's it. That's your answer. How do you find a unit vector? You take the given X and Y and put it over the magnitude. So whatever your X and Y were in the beginning, just divide them by the magnitude. Number 10. Find the direction and magnitude, or find the magnitude and direction angle for this vector. So you did this on your quiz. This is the one some of you missed though. Magnitude, I think everybody gets right. What's the magnitude of that vector? Square root of 5. Everybody okay with that? We're going over 2, up 1. 4 plus 1, 5. Now we need the direction angle. I think we need to draw a picture of it. So over 2, up 1. this right here that I'm marking, that's my answer. That's gonna be the answer. But I can't find that. I have to find this first. I know the tangent of that angle. Melissa, this is what you asked about earlier. I know the tangent is 1/2. This might be the same thing as on your quiz, actually. The tangent's 1/2.
You never put the negative in?
You don't, I never do. It doesn't hurt to do it, I just never do. Cause it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna do second tangent 1/2 and I get 26.57 again. Remember, to find an angle, we have to do special tangent, second tangent, or cosine or whatever. What is my answer then? My answer is, my direction angle is not 26. My direction angle is this guy, which I'll find by doing what? 180 minus. Yep. So the direction angle is 153.43. I think that was exactly your quiz question. All right, any questions about that? Your hand up then? All right, number 11. We want to know if these vectors are parallel, orthogonal, which means perpendicular, or neither. And then we have to explain our answer. So here are the vectors. All right, so tell me about it. How are we going to decide if these guys are parallel or perpendicular? How are we going to do that? Do their slopes. And slope is rise over run, right? So think about this vector. He's going over 2 and up 1. So his rise is 1 and his run is -2. So this slope is -1/2. It's y over x. Slope is y over x. So what's the slope of this one? 2 over 4, which is 1/2. All right, now wait a minute. Are they exactly the same?
No.
No, so they are not parallel. Are they opposite reciprocals of each other? No. So they are not orthogonal. Therefore, they are neither. Remember, to be perpendicular, orthogonal, you need to be opposite reciprocals. So these guys are opposite of each other, but they're not reciprocals. So they are neither. And then finally, the very last question. We want to know if AB equals CD, and then we're going to explain our answer. So what are we going to have to do to decide if they are equal to each other? What do we have to do? Find their coordinates. So we're going from A to B. All right, look at your numbers. Going from A to B, how are you moving? -2. Going from A to B, wouldn't that be -2? And then -8. All right, now from C to D. C to D. -2. Oh, +8. Did I make a mistake or is that right? All right, so what's our answer? The question is, are they equal to each other? They are not equal to each other. Because if two vectors are going to be equal, they have to have exactly the same coordinates. Exactly the same, if they're going to be equal. This isn't talking about parallel, perpendicular, and all that. This is, are they equal? And the answer is no, because to be equal, you have to have the same coordinates, the same x and y. All right? Okay, well, I promised you I'd quit at this point, so I'm going to. How However, I am going to ask